Hi everyone, I'm Tam and I'm back with another spurious dish. Today I have some tomatoes and I think this is beef liver pate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is pate, beef liver, yeah. So I'm going to try to make some tomato pate sauce, which we will then eat with some basic crackers. So like a kind of exactly like what this box has right here. Some kind of dipping sauce for the cracker, pretty much. Basic crackers, ideally not salted, because the flavor should be inside the actual dipping sauce. So this is just to like scoop it up with and eat. So up to you what you want to choose with that one. 4 tomatoes should be enough to make the tomato sauce. Some onion to add a bit of sweetness and also some texture to the tomato sauce. Beef liver, which we'll add into the sauce, kind of mix around later on. I will probably add salt and pepper, a little bit of salt and pepper, and maybe some chili paste to give it a nice kick. We'll see. I'm using beef tallow. Has the fat to cook these veggies in to make the broth. No, not the broth, the sauce. To simmer the sauce in. The reason why is because this is about to expire pretty much. And also beef tallow is really healthy, and beef tallow should enhance the flavor of the beef liver. So this is beef, that's beef. So together they should together they should synchronize and make a nice solid beef kind of a flavor. Butter will probably be a better choice, in the sense that butter is slightly sweet, so butter will kind of caramelize and kind of blend really well with the veggies here, and add a bit of sweetness to the actual pate. So however, the beef tallow will make it kind of heavier and kind of denser. So it's up to you what you want to do. You can use like butter. I'm gonna go with beef tallow, about like 4 tablespoons, so it's nice and like heavy. So that's the overview. So to actually do this, I'm going to slice these into probably small cubes, maybe like less than half an inch cubes. Slice those into half an inch cubes, so that way they release a lot of like juices and flavor early on, and then letting those simmer for like 10-15 minutes, so kind of let them tenderize, and then I'll probably kind of mash it up with a spoon, so it should be that soft. Where you can where you can like ground out, mash it up with a spoon, so that way it becomes more of a sauce than a bunch of tomato pieces. And then we'll add in the onions, which I'll slice very thin, so thin onion slices. So that gives like a nice kind of overall texture. We'll let that also simmer for 15 minutes. So the sauce will go about 25 minutes, and then we'll add in the pate, which is already cooked. We'll add it in, and then we may add like salt and pepper to kind of like give it a bit more seasoning, and that should be it for the actual sauce. The crackers are fine as is, and there's nothing else you can really. There's nothing else you have to do. I guess you can like kind of toast it a little bit to make it a bit more appealing to the eye. For example, it's kind of like jelly brownies a little bit on the outside with like a toast or what have you. So it looks a bit more aesthetically pleasing, but it's up to you. Okay, so I'll come back when all the veggies are diced up and we're ready to cook the sauce. All right, so the onions are nicely sliced. 3 slices of onion. I cut them along the same length as the onion. So for example, I think the onion is like has its vertebrae, so to speak, is vertebrae like this. I slice it along the same length like that. So the head of the onion is like this. I slice it like that. That's what I did to get these slices here. Very thin, translucent, transparent. So they should cook very quickly when you add them in. The tomato here, small cubes, small cubes slash rectangles, very small cubes slash rectangles right there. About 4 tablespoons of tallow. It's actually a lot of tallow. That's probably more like 5 or 6, honestly. That's okay. Never hurts to use more fat, I guess. This is healthy fat, so it's not like corn oil. This is healthy to eat, so it should be okay. So let's heat up the oil. Let me just put the phone so it doesn't move around while I do this. That's fine. All right, so here's the oil. That's the way the oil cooks, and then we'll add the tomato and kind of move the tomato around so that the oil covers all of the tomato. And then once it's all evenly distributed, just reduce it down to like medium to low, and let the tomato cook and release the flavor and kind of just become very tender. I think after 15 minutes it should be very tender, and you can use a spoon to like mash it up so it becomes more like a sauce and not like a bunch of tomato pieces, if that makes sense. So that's the plan here. Alright, so this is way more oil than I should probably use here. I should probably use like 2 tablespoons, honestly. That's okay. This is overkill. This is like way too much. So heat up the oil. And you know what? I might as well just add it right now. And kind of like, oh, ow. See, that's why you want to reduce the heat down before you do this. So it might splash on you. Like that. Oh man, I'm definitely having trouble coordinating today. Alright, let's do this here. So here we are. So now, all the tomatoes here, just move it around so that the oil has a chance to connect with all the different tomato pieces. Keep it on low, medium, so it doesn't splash too hard. I used too much heat. Now my shirt's kind of dirty here, but that's fine. Just like move around with this. That way it's kind of like this. Just be careful with a lot of oil. And then move around with this. Okay, back up. It actually tastes pretty good right now. The tallow and the tomato go together pretty well. It's like a nice sweet tomato beef flavor. So cook this up. Leave it on, let it kind of simmer and for like 15 minutes, and then it should kind of become and once you do that, then you want to mash it down so it becomes more and more of a like a paste. So I'll come back when that's in the works. So now it's very tender. I actually mashed it up a few times. Not every piece is super soft and squishy. Most of them are. It's also like pretty nice looking paste. So definitely you want them to be softer, like more of a pasty feel. However, I'm kind of lazy, so let's just proceed. It's pretty okay for me as is. Smells very aromatic, kind of nice. There we go. So now the onions here. I'm going to gently put this down. Just gently. The onions are very thin slices, so they should cook pretty quickly. Maybe like I don't know, like 10-15 minutes, relatively quickly. All right, put it in there. And definitely you want to mix everything up too, so that way it more evenly distributes, and the flavor is more across the board here. So same idea, just let it simmer. The onions will kind of like the onions will disperse a bit of liquid as well, because onions are mostly water, similar to tomato. So it'll disperse some liquid and soften up, probably become really mushy like the tomatoes. So you have a nice kind of like onion tomato kind of paste going on here. Move it all around so it kind of evenly coats the onions, and just let it simmer on medium to low heat, around there somewhere. Let the magic of the butter or tallow, whatever you're using, slowly tenderize the veggies here. Now is not the time to add salt. We'll add the salt and other stuff possibly later. I think right now it tastes kind of nice. Very fresh, no salt needed. Actually, the tomato is so fresh. There's a bit of like a saltiness to it. It kind of like a little bit of like bitter lime flavor there. So this is what it looks like right now. Let the whole thing kind of simmer and kind of dissolve, become very kind of like mellow and mushy. Alright, so the onions are now way soft. They're not super soft, they're not like mushy soft, they're kind of like still a bit firm. Definitely way softer though. Okay. Time to add in the pate. It looks really weird. The pate. If the sauce gets too dry, you can add some water to rehydrate it and keep it more moist. I haven't added any water yet. I may do so though, because it's definitely starting to become too dry for me. So now you just add in the, reduce it down to low. This pate is like super dry, yeah. I may need to add water to the sauce because this pate is so dry. Pate is so dry here, it's so dry. It's like super dry. So dry it is. It's like severely dehydrated. After a run in the hot sun. Super dry. Dry like chalk. Alright, anyway. Just mix it into the tomato, onion here, and it'll kind of like melt on its own a little bit. Pate is a bit firm, so it kind of like move around. For those who don't know, pate is just a ground liver. I think, yeah, grounded up liver. That's why it tastes kind of weird and funny. But it's definitely very healthy, you know. Liver is very healthy. So just kind of like move it around, mix it up, and turn it back to medium high. So a bit higher temperature, just a little bit. I definitely will probably need to add some water because this is so dry. I can just tell. Maybe like yeah, definitely add water. Yeah, it's not doing anything. Okay. Yeah, like maybe like half a cup of water. Let me just get the water. Possibly like half a cup of water. Not a lot. Should have a cup, maybe have a cup. Let's see here. Yes, we'll have a cup. That's roughly half a cup of water. Have a cup of water. Because it's just too dry, and you want the pate to evenly kind of spread out as well. So just also evenly spread out. Yeah, maybe it's definitely becoming more mushy now. And once the water is evaporated, it becomes firm again. And but this time it'll be more evenly dispersed. So you have a more even bite when you dip the crackers into the thing. Probably 1 cup of water. Yeah, 1 cup. So that way the onions and tomato can still have time to fully become more mushy. And then have a cup of water. So that's about 1 cup of water in total. Alright, 1 cup of water in total. Oh wow, the pate is definitely becoming very mushy now. So we're definitely moving towards the right direction here in terms of what I want to be at the end of this journey. Alright. Alright, so in terms of adding I guess salt or pepper, I don't think you need I don't think I'm gonna do that. Let me see what it tastes right now. Oh, it's actually very nice. That's like the pate plus the onion go well together, and the tomato sneaks in a bit of like sweetness. So when you take a bite of everything. Yep. Oh wow. Oh, very nice. Yeah, wow. The pate and the tomato has a nice contrast because the pate is usually like dark and grimy. The tomato is like light and kind of cherry, so that kind of contrast goes well together. And then the sweetness of the sweetness also from the onions kind of sneaks in past both of them. It's just kind of nice. The only thing missing from this is a bit of chili, actually. A bit of chili with like chili paste or something like that will make this very like complete. See here. Let me just test it one more time and see if I want to do that. Let's see for a moment. I probably will not, because if I add chili, it's more of like a curry, so it's not like this. I think let's add a bit of salt overall. Add some salt. So that way it's still like a sauce, like a dipping sauce. It's not like a curry sauce, but that way. So it's not a bit of salt overall. We're gonna like one teaspoon of salt. Kind of just sprinkle it all over the place. I think that's probably do well. 1 teaspoon of salt. Maybe wait till I do this. See here, we want it over here. Like that. Move all this. Alright, see what it tastes like now. Oh, it's perfect, yeah. This would be a great dipping sauce, yeah. Great dipping sauce. Oh yeah. This could actually be a great soup as well. I think the pate is too dense for a soup, but you can definitely turn to a soup like clam chowder-ish. Oh yeah, it's good. That's exactly the amount of salt to add to. Oh wow, it's really nice. Okay, so this is what I have right now. It doesn't look like much, and it kind of looks kind of gross. However, I think once the liquid is evaporated, it will be more. It will look more appealing. Right now, it looks kind of like barf, no doubt. However, it definitely will get better, I think. So give it like 5 to 15 minutes for the water to kind of like evaporate, because we just want the sauce. We don't want the extra water. The extra water was just to allow me to more evenly mix everything together. So the water helps rehydrate the pate, allows me to like mix it all up like this, and then we just wait for the water to kind of go away, and then we'll have our final product. So it still looks kind of like a bit like I guess vomit. However, it tastes pretty good. I think most of the liquid is gone now. If I were to leave it to cool down, it will probably harden up a little bit. If you catch my drift, so yeah. So it looks pretty good, you know, pretty even, more even colored now. There's less like the brown color is less dominant. There's a bit more red now. It smells like pate. Mostly pate with a bit of onion, and yeah. So let me put it into a plate and then we'll present it. The crackers I just have as is. I have done nothing to the crackers. It's just like straight from the box as is. I guess you can like kind of toast it to make it a bit more attractive. For example, you can probably like you can coat it with honey. Take a brush, put it into honey, and kind of just like kind of gently coat the outside, and maybe then put into like the oven for like a few minutes to kind of like crisp up. So they're kind of like crispy onion crispy texture with a bit of like honey on the surface. So that's one way to like make this more, I guess, Michelin star quality. I guess supreme, more supreme that way. Anyway, so I'll come back when I have put everything together. Okay, and this is our final product, our tomato pate dipping sauce. Let me call it that. With our lovely crackers here. Let me just kind of like get a nice angle here for the thumbnail. I think it's pretty good. Maybe a bit more like here would be nice. So this would be like a nice like lunch slash, I guess, side dish for dinner. This is how I would kind of envision someone gonna eat this. So one way to make this look a bit more pretty, because right now it's kind of like it's all brown like dirt. You can add like basil leaves, like the little basil leaf top, like the little green plants. You can like plant the basil leaf tops here. Boop 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 boop. So it looks a bit more like trees growing from the dirt of nature. That's one way to make it look more interesting and I guess artistic. Put like little like basil plants, boom 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 boom, like tiny little basil plants, and it definitely look a bit more interesting and appealing. Similarly for this, you can like as I said, glaze it with honey, and maybe like put it in a toaster to kind of crisp it up a little bit. So those two things you can do to make it look very nice, and they're pretty straightforward in terms of preparation as well. So the basil leaf just cut off and put in there, and this is just like slightly, and for this just slightly glaze it. Anyway, so this is what we have to work with. So let's just eat. Put the phone to the side. Okay. All right, so the first thing is the smell. Very heavy with pate. The pate is not like, the pate is dominant. However, it's not overwhelming. the other flavors. It's kind of like right behind the pate is an onion and a bit of tomato. You can tell. Yeah, you can tell there's like a bit of like tomato and onion behind the pate. The pate is like the front, and then there's like a bit of onion and tomato there. Alright, so let's see what it tastes like with the cracker. The cracker here is unsalted. It's just plain wheat cracker, nothing too fancy. Alright, just gonna do this. So like dipper in there. There we are. Mmm. Mmm. It's pretty nice, actually. The pate goes really well with the cracker. They have the same kind of like grit to them, some kind of like grittiness. Because the pate is usually like kind of like has a grimy flavor. The cracker similarly has kind of like a dry wheat flavor, so they combine pretty well together. Mm. Mm. Oh. The onion and tomato has a lot of adds a lot of sweetness to the entire thing. Like yeah, without honey or any like sugar, this is still very sweet. Just from the tomato and the onion, this is still very sweet as it is. Without any like extra sugar or honey, it's still very sweet. Mm. You can't really taste the salt. The salt that I added, about 1 tablespoon, about 1 teaspoon of salt. You can't really taste that. I think the salt rounded the sharpness of the sweetness. So adding salt made the sweet flavor more like soft and gentle, versus like very sharp. So now it's more kind of like a even kind of like a flavor, versus like just a very sharp kind of sweetness, which combines very well because the pate flavor is very kind of like mellow. It's not really in any direction. So the profile of the flavors is more fair. Mm, mm. This would be a very very hearty, like heart satisfying breakfast here. Mm. Yeah, the flavor is great. I think because the tomato was so ripe, the tomato added a bit of like bitter, kind of a bitter tartness to it. So it also feels like you're eating a bit of lime. It feels like there's a bit of lime here, even though there's not, because of how ripe the tomato was. It has a bit of like a citrus to it. It's not a huge amount. It's just like it's noticeably in the background. Hmm. 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 Yeah. There's nothing missing from this sauce. From I can like kind of tell, flavor wise. The only thing that I'm kind of disappointed in is that it doesn't look as pretty, and that's about it. I think once you add the basil leaves, as I said, or something kind of green and small, to kind of like give it more of a color profile, it would definitely visually look more appealing. And that's about the only thing I can really complain about from my perspective anyway. This is only one half of the bowl. I have another half here. You could probably like put this in the fridge. It'll kind of harden back to a pate, kind of like a hard pate, kind of like spread. You can then probably put it on like a banh mi sandwich, you know, like a Subway sandwich, and then just kind of eat it. So you can repurpose this sauce, let it harden in the refrigerator to become more of a spread. So that's something else you can kind of do. And that's about it for this edition of Spurious Dishes, everyone. Have a good day.